So, mommy, let's wish Deltans a happy Democracy Day. 1, 2, 3, go.
Happy Democracy Day. At the beginning, a lot of issues about who is Sheriff. Who is Sheriff? What can Sheriff do? And that was a very bitter statement for me. It was like I was pushed to the wall, because you don't ask, who is this person that God has created? Because at creation, God created every one of us for a purpose. And the purpose of God in my life is different from the purpose of God in your own life. And so it is with His Excellency. The purpose of God creation, when He made His Excellency, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Francis Rukwado Ogboewe. When God created him, He defined his destiny and gave him a purpose. So no man had any right at any given point to ask, who is Sheriff? So that was one burden I carried for too long. And because I believe in God, I knew that God was challenged and He will not let any man challenge Him. So His Excellency became the governor of Delta State. It is 2 years now he has been in the office. And I am certain by His grace that those people who ask, who is Sheriff, now know that Sheriff is the Son of God.
It's true.
Who God sent for a purpose to build Delta State. I'm very happy that for 2 years he has done well. In the sight of man, as a development person, His Excellency has done well. He has been able to turn his promises into action in terms of development. If you look at the MORE agenda, he is implementing the MORE agenda with his team. He's not asking anybody to clap for him. He's just doing it to prove to us, all those people who were saying he doesn't have the capacity, to prove to them, by the grace of God, that God actually gave him capacity from day one. And he has been able to work, not as an individual, but as a team player. Today, so many things have happened in terms of road construction, in terms of proper administration. You can see that everybody is on his toes. Whoever you are in Delta State and what position you hold, the fear of God and Sheriff has become number one. Because if you're a contractor,
That is true.
And you do, they give you money because he's not owing any contractor. If he gives you money on behalf of the state to work for the state and you do rubbish, one is that he's not afraid of anything. He's a fearless man, and he lives in the streets. He's not a governor that is in the office. Yes. He's a governor that can enter anywhere.
Yes.
He goes from one place to the other. He's not waiting for anybody to come and inspect job for him. He's a governor who will get up from office, enter the bus, and tell people to follow him, and they will just come to the place, and you'll be wondering, the governor didn't tell us we are going to this place. So, and that is the way it should be. He's a governor who understands that his promise from the one as a servant leader, he has put that into practice, where he's not asking anybody, if you don't come, there's a problem. He will do it. So when he does it, of course, nobody will tell you as a follower that this is the right way to go. A governor who has the courage to set up a civil service commission that will question those people that were not able to be questioned before. And His Excellency has entered into a big social contract with Delta State youth, so that at every given point he's looking for a space to employ them, to engage them, so that the issue of crime and insecurity will be reduced. He has been a very prudent leader who has been able to give accounts. It's not easy for people to be in leadership and then asks that the citizens demand accountability.
Yes.
Now he's not waiting for even the citizens to demand accountability. He's going to tell them, this is what we have, this is what we have spent, and this is where we are going to. So Delta State, in terms of insecurity, His Excellency is working with his team to make sure that everything is in order. That is not to say we don't have challenges. We have challenges, but those challenges are not to be compared with the challenges other states are having. In terms of schools, we have more than 1,400 primary schools in Delta State, public schools in Delta State. We have about 498 secondary schools in Delta State. All these schools are functional. These schools are functional. And we have about 4 universities owned by Delta State government. Rule away the hardship in the country is not only in Delta State, but the truth of the matter is that these things are managed because of the persons and the class of leaders that we have on ground that will make sure that at every given point, things are controlled to the best of their knowledge. Now, that is education. In last year, over 3,000 teachers were employed. And I'm sure that before long, they are going to employ more teachers. In the legislature, the Speaker and the members of the House of Assembly have done well. When His Excellency came to our chambers to come and brief us of what he has done with the money that was appropriated, it has never happened that the governor came from his office to say, I want to come and give the state of an address, and say, this is what the money that we have, this is what I, the governor, and the executive, the EXCO, have done with the money. And for the first time, what had happened in the beginning of the millennium in this state, for the first time in that meeting at the House of the House of Assembly, where all Deltans, you could see the unity. The first Speaker of the House of Assembly, Delta State House of Assembly, was seated. All the speakers, except the one that had passed on, were seated, those who have led the House of Assembly. Other members who were members of the House of Assembly were there. It was a one united family. And I sat down in the chambers very happy. And while we were sitting waiting for His Excellency, there was no fanfare. While we were sitting there, he just entered and they were saying, Governor don't come, Governor don't come. Because that's the kind of person.
Yes.
He don't need to pretend to live fake life. He doesn't live fake life. So because he doesn't live fake life, no Deltan will live fake life. So we are who we are. So he did very well. And when I was asked, I told them that I felt so happy seeing Delta State, a one united family, sitting. Even if some people are still aggrieved or anybody, but you see that it was not issue of pretense. It was Delta State first, our people first. Let us put back our interest and see how we can protect this state, the only state that we have. That was what I saw at that chambers that day. And I thank God for His Excellency. I thank God because he has followed God the way he is. And he's not saying that I am the most knowledgeable. He's not saying I am this. He's just asking God to lead him. And it's my prayer that God will lead him. For all the widows on that day, he promised that widows will be paid 15,000 every month. And last 2 weeks, the forms were sent to us. All the local governments have received the forms. And those widows will be paid. He has increased the stipend from what it was. Now it's 15,000 every month for these widows. That is huge. You will not understand. Somebody will say, 15,000 is small. You will not understand until you see
every month.
that that there are some people who don't have that money. There are people that are angry. I use this avenue to beg you to see the handwork of God in Delta State, to see that nobody comes to power without the consent of God. That if His Excellency Governor Sheriff is the governor of Delta State today, and for 8 years that he's going to be there, it is because God has made it so, and no one can fight God.
Yes.
So let us sit down from our different homes and see what contribution we can make to strengthen his capacity, so that at the end of the day, every second His Excellency has spent in the office, that the poor will raise their voice and say, while he was there, we were happy all the time. You know, we can talk and say so many things that we want to do. If there's no law to back this up, then there's a problem.
Yes.
I can confidently tell you that the laws to protect the most vulnerable in the state has been passed and assented to by His Excellency.
Nice.
The social protection law for the excluded, when you look at the MOA agenda, you know the MOA agenda is a summary of the Sustainable Development Goals. And that is what is happening in Delta State. What are they talking about? That will leave nobody behind. The social protection law protects everybody, especially the most vulnerable. So inclusiveness in that we are talking about in the MOA agenda is to cover every sector, everybody. Now, you talk about persons living with disability. That law has been assented to. You talk about issues of children. Everything that we have has been assented to. So all that His Excellency is doing is backed by the law. The most important one is the electricity law. In Delta State, there's a law on electricity. So those history of come and estimate bills, come and cut this thing with wire and all that is gradually coming to an end.
Well, it's a good thing to spend this morning with the honorable member representing Oshimili South. I'm talking about Honorable Barrister Bridget Anyamfulu. You heard her talk about His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State. We must understand that what is democracy? What do you mean by giving dividend of the money to the people? We're talking about accountability and transparency, and that is what His Excellency, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Francis Oredeboyori, has been giving us through his MOA agenda. On this note, I'd like to introduce myself to you. My name is Ambassador S.A. Joshua Emad, aka Chief Student. I'm a Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Delta State on media and the DG of an ongoing sensational tour of the MOA agenda tagged Connecting with Vulnerable Deltans through traditional and modern media channels. So, Mommy, let's wish Deltans a happy Democracy Day. 1, 2, 3, go.
Happy Democracy Day. Thank you.